Hello there. What would happen if you made a periodic table of elements out of cube-shaped bricks, where each brick was made of the corresponding element? Well, let's find out. We'll be dividing the periodic table into its 7 rows. Oh, and those guys down there go into these rows. Alright, now that's out of the way. This is our test subject. Hello, test subject.
Hello.
We will be making the table of elements today.
Oh, that sounds cool.
First row, hydrogen and helium. Both are gases, and they're completely harmless, so they'll just rise up and disperse. Not very interesting. Second row, less boring. Though lithium would tarnish, beryllium is toxic, so be careful with it, but you should be alright. Oxygen and nitrogen slowly disperse, just as the hydrogen and helium did, and neon floats away. Fluorine gas is so dense that it spreads across the ground, actually, instead of floating upwards. It's the most reactive element in the entire periodic table of elements, so any substance it touches immediately catches on fire. But if you have a fire extinguisher on hand, you'll be right. Breathing in the substance is damaging to the nose, mouth, and eventually the rest of you, so gas mask is required. Third row. Phosphorus sucks. The 2 types of phosphorus are red phosphorus, which is completely safe to handle, and white phosphorus, which ignites with contact to air, and is very poisonous. That's the one we're dealing with.
What?
Sulfur on its own only smells pretty bad, kinda like rotten eggs, but since it's between fluorine gas and phosphorus, it immediately catches fire. Argon is safe, it's dense and spreads across the ground. Fourth row. Arsenic on its own is toxic. Burning phosphorus and potassium ignite the arsenic, which releases arsenic trioxide, which is very poisonous. This row will smell bad because of the selenium and bromine vigorously reacting. Burning sulfur spills into the bromine, which is a liquid at room temperature. You doing alright there?
Yeah.
The fifth row. Technetium is the first radioactive brick on the periodic table of elements. Breathed in as a dust, it will kill you. But that aside, this row is similar to the fourth. The sixth row. No matter how careful you are, this row kills you. This row contains several radioactive elements, astatine being the worst. No one has ever seen it since it vaporizes itself in its own heat. It will be there briefly before turning into a column of extremely hot gas. Immediate third-degree burns to anyone in a couple 100-meter radius. Our building is definitely gone. A cloud of hot gas rises into the sky, pouring heat and radiation all over the city. Radioactive dust and debris rain from the sky. Radiation poisoning will kill you and all of your friends in the blink of an eye. You would be cooked to death by the radiation, actually. The seventh row. Now this is where things kind of get weird. There are elements called transuranic elements.
What is that?
Essentially elements that exist against the will of God. Very unstable. They disappear within milliseconds of being created. Sadly, they don't disappear quietly. They go through radioactive decay, releasing huge amounts of energy. This results in a nuclear explosion. Unlike a fission bomb which was dropped on Japan twice, it's not a chain reaction, it all just happens at once. It turns you and the rest of our periodic table of elements into plasma. A mushroom cloud would rise into the stratosphere and constantly rain radioactive fallout like a bomb that just keeps exploding. The debris would spread around the entire world, and it would take centuries for the world to repair and become near back to the way it was. Although being a collector is fun, with chemical elements you do not want to catch them all.
What is that? What is that?
Do you not remember the context?
I don't remember.
Transuranic elements.
Oh, what is that?
Do it again, but like in a more doomed voice.
What is that?